Welcome to The Explainer. What if you could paint a detailed portrait of a future king? Not with paint, but with words, 700 years before he was even born. Today, we're diving into William Hanna Thomson's The Great Argument to see how ancient Hebrew prophets, right in a moment of total crisis, described a coming son of David who they believed would change the world.
Okay, so let's get right into this. You have to understand, for the ancient Hebrew people, prophecy wasn't some kind of party trick about seeing the future. No, it was their lifeline. As their whole world was crumbling, the memory of their greatest King David kind of morphed into this powerful hope. And this hope for another David, a promised Messiah, became, as Thomson puts it, the one thing they could cling to in really dark times.
So here's our game plan for piecing this ancient puzzle together. First, we're going to step right into the crisis that sparked these incredible predictions. Then we'll decode two absolutely stunning visions from the prophet Isaiah. And finally, we'll see how all these pieces just seem to click into place to form one single, unmistakable portrait.
All right, first up, to really get the weight of these prophecies, you have to feel the sheer desperation of the moment. I mean, this wasn't just some political trouble. The entire royal line of the great King David was on the brink of being completely wiped out, forever. Now, check this out, because the timeline here is kind of mind-blowing. We are talking about hundreds and hundreds of years separating the glory days of King David from the really dangerous times of the prophet Isaiah. The memory of that golden age was so distant, it was almost like a fairy tale, which, you can imagine, made the current crisis feel even more hopeless.
The situation was bad. I mean, really bad. The kingdom of Judah, the house of David, was facing this terrifying military alliance. Enemy armies were marching on Jerusalem, and the fear was so intense, the Bible describes it as a whole forest shaking in a violent storm. And it's into this atmosphere of pure terror that the prophet Isaiah steps forward with a message that looks way, way beyond the immediate threat.
And what Isaiah says next is, well, it's absolutely stunning. His first major prophecy about this coming ruler describes a king with titles that would have just shattered every single expectation for a normal earthly monarch.
So get this, the prophecy doesn't start with a conquering warrior or some mighty general. It starts with the birth of a child. And that right there immediately signals a completely different kind of salvation, one that's not about military power, but about a brand new beginning.
And this is where the vision gets truly radical. I mean, just listen to these names: the mighty God, the Father of eternity. As Thomson points out, these aren't job titles for a mortal man, no matter how great he might be. These are titles you'd give to a divine being.
And here's the crucial link. This divine child is explicitly promised the throne of David. The prophecy connects this heavenly figure directly to the earthly royal line, promising an eternal kingdom of peace that would finally fulfill that ancient, fading hope. When you put them side by side, the contrast is just stark. Thomson argues that there was no king at the time, not even a good king like Hezekiah, who could possibly fit this description. The titles, the peaceful nature of his kingdom, its eternal scope, all of it points to someone and something entirely different from any king the world had ever seen.
But Isaiah wasn't done, not by a long shot. He gives us a second prophecy with another powerful and really different image. This time it's not a king on a throne, but new life springing up from a forgotten, humbled source.
So picture this. The prophecy says the grand royal tree of David, with all its power and glory, would be cut down to a stump. It would look dead. But then, out of that seemingly lifeless, humble root, the root of Jesse, David's simple father, a new branch would grow. It's this incredible prophecy of renewal coming from the humblest of beginnings.
And what defines this new ruler? It's not his armies, it's his character. He's filled with God's Spirit. His judgment is perfect, bringing justice to the poor. His power is entirely moral. He rules with the rod of his mouth, not a sword of iron. And his reign brings a peace so deep, it literally transforms the natural world. This is a kingdom built on pure righteousness.
So let's step back. When we put these two incredible prophecies together, what do we actually have? Well, Thomson argues they aren't separate vague hopes. He says they combine to form a single, remarkably detailed portrait of this expected son of David.
You see, this isn't just a generic wish for a better king. It's a very specific and kind of paradoxical picture. He would come from David's line, but only after that line was humbled. He would be both human, a child, and divine, the mighty God. And his kingdom would be eternal, peaceful, and ruled by moral force. A truly unique figure. And this brings us right to the heart of Thomson's great argument. He basically says that this incredibly detailed prophetic portrait, written down 700 years before it happened, finds its direct and unmistakable fulfillment in one person, Jesus Christ. He argues the match is so precise that the implications are, in his words, too clear to be withstood.
And so, this whole explainer leaves us right where Thomson leaves his readers, with a question that has been echoing through the centuries ever since these prophecies were first written down. Looking at this prophetic portrait, what are we supposed to think about the one who is claimed to be its fulfillment? It's a question that really, history itself seems to be asking us to answer.